Let's unmute that mic. Welcome everybody. I just figured I'd jump on today. It's a Sunday. It's a long weekend, which is kind of nice. Don't have to work tomorrow. I wonder if you're having your turkey. Some people have their turkey today. Some people have their turkey tomorrow. I was supposed to go to my aunt's for turkey dinner, but she's sick, unfortunately. So no turkey dinner for me. But so I figured I'd just come on and jump on. I've been working and editing on a video, and I'm just basically taking a bit of a break from that. And I figured I might as well jump on, see who's around on the weekend. These live streams are always kind of fun to see who shows up. We get some different faces all the time, which is nice. And if nothing's scheduled for tomorrow, obviously markets are closed, so I figured go on today, see what's happening, catch people on the weekend, which is something a little different, and take a break from editing videos. I know we talked about a little bit on the last stream is editing videos aren't my favorite thing to do necessarily, but it has to get done to be able to post. So I figured, come on, take a break. It's more fun to do these actually because they're a little bit more off the cuff, and when you're filming a video talking about different things, you can't ramble as much, and I tend to ramble, so this makes things simpler, and then I don't have to edit it at the end. So if you are here, hit me with ask a question, leave a comment. Happy to answer kind of anything as we go here. As again, nothing really scheduled in terms of news wise today. I did an update on the channel. If you're following along, I did an update on the venture fund, so that's on the channel. You can catch the video of that. That's actually the one investment that's doing well. Looks like we're gonna have a bit of, with the markets close tomorrow, we'll have a bit of a break from Friday, so maybe we'll have a chance to recoup something by Tuesday, unless of course you're invested in anything in the US markets, because the US markets are open, because it's not Thanksgiving for the US yet. But other than that, editing video today, and then I'm going to head out a little bit. The weather is still great here, which is nice. It's been a really nice autumn and fall. And I will go take some pictures. I know a few people have followed my other channel and know I do a lot of photography. So I'm going to go out and try and get some autumn photos for the other channel, and put something together for that as well. While the weather's still nice, it's cool in the morning, but the afternoons and midday is really still nice here. We actually have a water restriction. We haven't had any rain, which is kind of crazy for almost the middle of October. But on the investment front, I know I talked about it a little bit on the last live stream. For me personally, when it rains, it pours. And I'm not talking about rain, but a kind of a side transition to this. When it rains, it pours. I went to get my winter tires put on yesterday. Switched over for winter, and they're fine. Everything else good. But when I got there, they're like, "Oh, you just want us to take your old tires off and just like recycle them, because they're not any good anymore." So the tire change turned out to be like normally would cost, with tire storage and switching the tires was usually $100, but I had to get well, I didn't have to get them yesterday, but if I got my tires taken off, they would have had to give me my rims back. They don't store empty rims, obviously makes sense. I have nowhere to store empty rims. What am I going to do with them? I've got to move them all around, and I have to get tires anyways. So the tire change turned into a $100 bill, turned into like a $1,200 bill. So that's going to put a bit of a kink into my TFSA investing. I wasn't planning on that, but I guess that makes sense to have a bit of have some savings to not put everything in investments, because I wasn't expecting that bill. But I needed to get tires, and what I figured, might as well order them now, because the biggest thing, I guess, was still supply chain stuff. The person, she's at the counter, she's like, "Oh, we don't have a lot of choices you can get. Actually, it's going to take a while," and so I had to buy new tires. So not fun. So not a good week, not a good start to the weekend that way. But that's just life. I mean, I'm thankful the car has been pretty good to me. Haven't had to do many repairs or other, knock on wood, other than regular maintenance on the car. But other than that, and then I am setting up today. I finally kind of tracked down, and I heard this from Candace's stream, and I saw this app before. It's called Trading Stream. I can share the window here, and I can just kind of show you what it looks like. Let's share that. Let's bring it I can do this way. There we go. So it's like a website. This is it's on Bitcoin right now, but basically, let me make this bigger. That's better. So you can actually see it. So TradingView, there's a free account. That's what I've kind of started off with right now. And I'm just basically what I'm doing today as well is just getting my watch list set up on here so I can kind of go in and see it a bit clearer in one screen. I know with Wealthsimple, you have, on the app, you can see, you can have watch lists and stuff like that, but I'm not necessarily sitting on my phone all day. I am in front of my computer all day for the most part, especially when I'm at work. So I'm just getting this set up, but you have to kind of load in all of your positions on there. So I'll be able to track my positions, and it looks kind of interesting. Actually, there is a free version. So if you wanted to try it out, it's at tradingview.com. And what it does is it comes pre-populated with a bunch of stocks already on there. But what it does, you can put it in your watch list and keep track of all your stocks. And I'm not a chart reader by any means, but it'll be a good way to kind of keep track of that and maybe learn a little bit more. And so we're getting that set up. So I've got all my TFSA in there so far. You can see it on the right-hand side, just kind of building that. And you can go in, the free version only lets you view basically one at a time. But I believe if you have more of the paid version, you can have multiple views of stocks and different stuff going. Not that I'm going to get that crazy into it, but there's actually, it looks like I was actually doing a bit of look here, and it actually has, if you go back, I won't know if it let me do it with this, with the tab showing. It doesn't, but if you actually go back, you can actually go in, there's some news. Now it's not actually, oh, it doesn't. The screen share tab kind of blocks it, which is kind of a pain. But there is some different news stuff that you can get, and unfortunately with the trials, it does pop up. But you can look in here. Let me see. I'm just figuring this out, where it all goes. There we go. If we go, I got to leave because I've saved this. So if you actually go here, you can actually look and see. There's actually some decent news, and I know I read Yahoo News all the time, so this could be interesting to see if anything kind of pops up with this, because it actually pre-populates some stocks and stuff like that. So I'll check this out, but I mostly got in it basically to get into my the chart, to see my stocks in the charts. So there's that. That's kind of what I'm working on today. So if everybody has this, let me know how you like it, or maybe there's another option that's a little bit better for that. Still kind of working around. I know a lot of these free things, they have some different ideas. So it gives you some ideas in terms of research lists of stocks. So this I found interesting too, because you can actually go to like environmental stocks and give you some breakdown of like different global friendly and different sectors to kind of check out. So if you're into research and looking for different things, this probably is something you might actually find interesting. Industry infrastructure, so you can scroll down, and it kind of breaks it down into sectors. Let's see, big oil is doing well right now, and then you can save them as watch lists. But unfortunately, there's some limitations with the free version so far, which I've found out. But I don't know necessarily if I will pay for this yet, if I see how I use it. But yeah, I can breaks it down different sectors, which is interesting. If you're looking for different things, there is also a lot of like software stuff in here, which is kind of interesting. So so Facebook, this tracks all the Facebook, Meta, Apple, Amazon, the big five, right? I don't think it stands for FANG anymore, but so there you go. And then you can go back to your charts, or your chart that you build. This is just on Bitcoin right now, because that's the only thing that's open and moving around on the weekends. But there we go. So hopefully that will prove a bit more beneficial and kind of streamline my research, I think. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. And yeah, if anybody has any questions or wants to chat, like I said, I'm not just a fireside chat. I had the Fireplace going. and just kind of, I didn't have the fireplace here before we first started the live stream with the fireplace, sitting down and just seeing how people are. I know some people always have some questions, so fire away. I've got my coffee. Hopefully you've got a coffee, and hopefully it can be a relaxing day and have turkey. Some people have turkey tomorrow though, because tomorrow's the actual holiday day. But you having turkey today or you having turkey tomorrow? Let me know. No turkey for me, unfortunately, this year. It'll be like a rain check turkey because she still has the turkey. So once she's feeling better, we'll have turkey dinner. And other than that, for news, let's see if we can find any news here, because this live trading view has a news flow, which is kind of interesting, and doesn't seem to be a ton of ads necessarily, which is good. And other than the pop-ups, getting you to try and subscribe to upgrade. You get a 340-day trial. You can see what's happening. Probably not a lot of heck happening on a Sunday, but Canadian. Let's see if I wonder if you can search by Canada. I see popping up search. I wonder if it uses your IP. Maybe it does. Canadian's economy. This takes a second to load. Does that show on the page? It does. Canada's economy. So there we go. So they're saying not good news. There's never good news in the news, right? Lots of vacancies still in jobs, but the economy will still slow. There is lots of jobs out there. That's the crazy thing. It's still you see it on all the, I don't know how much they picked it. Maybe not the high paying, maybe not the good paying jobs, but you see a lot of the service industry is still looking for, there's like help wanted signs everywhere. Grocery stores, retail stores, coffee stores. Seems like anything kind of service oriented is looking for staff. But I'm going to guess they don't pay a ton if you had to go and do certain things, but there's work out there, which is good. And then what else was new on there on my on the channel? We had a great live stream the other day, getting more and more people viewing, which is awesome. I really do appreciate it on that. And the channel's growing, which is awesome. If you're just watching and haven't checked out the channel, 1,000 subscribers we passed last week, which is pretty awesome. And just plugging away. In terms of plans for the TFSA, I still would do a regular deposit next payday, but we're like I said, with all the car bills, all of a sudden it's going to be cut back a little bit, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. But we'll see how the market is doing. I don't know, what does everybody kind of think is going to happen? It's definitely wasn't a good week last week, but maybe we'll have a little bit of a rally next week. I'm not super optimistic or pessimistic either way. I think we're going to be in for basically much of the same in the next little while. We're going to have these ups and downs like that. I think it's going to be like that until we get a bit of maybe slowing down with what's going on with rate increases. Pretty much guaranteed, I think, in Canada at the next one, probably 50 basis points, I think people are kind of predicting. I'm not an economist by any means, but that's kind of what I think I've basically read on that's the vibe. But so we'll see how that pans out. But we'll just keep plugging away. I think that's the kind of key right now. Is just slow and steady. Now I've been doing a bit of research, and it's interesting. I don't know. I'm still up in the air. If you see my portfolio, and I mean, I'm wanting to build the VDY, which is the dividend paying monthly dividend stock. But I think there's some opportunity out there. Like, I don't know, is the bottom here? That's the big if. I don't know necessarily if the bottom's in. I hope we don't necessarily get another big, huge drop in the next little bit. But I think thinking we're pretty close. So is this the time to get into some of the more of the growth stocks that are down? I don't know. And some of the tech stuff, Apple, Amazon, Facebook or Meta. I don't know. Let me know if how you feel about that. It's hard to time. You can't time these things, but it might be some opportunity. That's what I'm kind of seeing to get into something. I mean, obviously, my portfolio is leaned a little bit more on the riskier side in terms of some of the positions that I have, but yeah, is it just time to keep putting more into some dividend stuff to kind of not necessarily get as much necessarily growth, although the BTC.Y has been doing okay because of the oil in there. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. If anybody's watching and has some comments on where you think it's at, or when's a good time to start, when do you think people are going to be starting to put more money into the market so we can see some price appreciation? That'd be interesting to hear your thoughts. I did read that there's a lot of retail, like when you say retail investors, it's like people like me and everybody else, for the most part. There's a lot of interest in shorting stuff. So I think when that starts to happen, maybe when the retail starts to get into that position, that could be a sign that it's going to turn around, because we always seem to be kind of late to the game to see what's happening. But I don't know. I could be completely off on that. I know there's a few ETFs that are built to short the market that I think are quite popular right now, but I haven't looked too much into that on how that goes. But love to hear your thoughts on how that goes. And let's just go over to the big thing people have been asking too, is like, one thing is with Bitcoin, kind of what's going to happen. But I think it's until the market shifts, Bitcoin will kind of do what it's doing. I was watching whose live stream was I watching? I was watching Candace's live stream yesterday. I didn't catch it live, but I caught it after the fact, and she did make a really good point on Bitcoin, because a commenter mentioned they thought it was a Ponzi, but you can think whatever you think. But basically asking when it's going to possibly rise, and the point which was I think was on the mark is, as soon as there's some kind of more regulation around it, right? So it's easier, or so large like pension funds and stuff can start to invest in it, because right now they can't. The big thing in the States is there's no spot ETF either for it. We have them in Canada, like the that one that I have in my portfolio is a spot ETF. The one that's the mix of BT. Totally drawing a blank. What's it called? I gotta look it up here. ETC. The evolved cryptocurrency, right on the edge of my right on the edge. I can't think about it. That one's a spot one, but they don't have that in the States. So it'll be interesting to see when that happens. Will that be the catalyst that brings it up? Yeah, it's hard to say. For me, I'm just dollar cost average. I still do dollar cost average into that. I just do a daily small deposit on Shakepay, which reminds me I have to shake. And can't forget to shake, because my shake streak is doing pretty good. I'm almost, there we go, 304 days. I'm almost at a year of shaking my phone every day at 9 o'clock. But it adds up. Let's see here, how much total. 229,260 Satoshis. So that's about roughly 220. That's about $60-70 roughly ish. So that's pretty good for doing that. No comments today. Everybody's quiet. Maybe everybody's had their turkey already, or maybe they had turkey last night and they're sleeping, which I find interesting. Unless I'm not getting them for some reason. No, StreamYard shows. If you're here, say something so I can make sure the comments are coming through, because sometimes StreamYard might be kind of going screwy for whatever reason. But it should be working. Let's see. Oh, here's another thing we talked about last week. Let me just pull this up to share. It's on credit cards. We brought this up a little bit in live streams, and it looks like it's actually passed. There we go. This isn't. There we go. So they've allowed it now. So there's a rule change. So businesses can now add a fee to use credit cards surcharges. So I know like a lot of people. I have like a money cashback MasterCard that I use. It's the Tangerine one, and I get for certain things like reoccurring bill payments. You can set it up. The way the Tangerine one works is you can set it up and you can choose different categories that you get 2% cash back with, and I think you get 3. You get 3 if you get your cash back into a Tangerine savings account. Which why not just take the cash in the savings account and then you can do whatever you want with it. You choose 3. So I've chosen reoccurring bill payments, groceries, and gas, fuel. So you get 2% cash back on that. Everything else you get 1% cash back on. Some things I think it's 0.5%. It just depends kind of what it is. But the big thing is the reoccurring payments. So on, like for example, my cell phone, my internet, basically a lot of the subscription stuff that I have for like for example, if StreamYard subscription-based service, right? Adobe's, Netflix, all those things. So you get the reoccurring bill payment, 2%. But I know Telus has come across and said anybody that uses it for their because I paid my Telus bill, they're going to charge you. I think it was 1.5%. Yeah. So there's the rules. You can because the cost of using these credit cards, right? So Telus has actually said they were the first one here, so they've already said they want to add 1.5% processing fees if you use a credit card. So that works out to about $2 per person. Yeah, because your bill is close. Your bill is close to. I mean, for phone is close to $100. Add in internet if you have it. Obviously, probably everybody has internet, but cable if you have it. I don't have cable, but so anytime you add up your bill, and that's a big thing. I mean, I kind of think if it's a recurring bill, Telus charging me 1.5%, I still make 0.5%. But it's like when my contract is up, am I probably maybe going to look for a company that doesn't charge me that? Probably. So I think it's good, and it's a good call by Justin. It's going to hurt business. It'll be interesting to see how many people do it or how many businesses do it. Like I know for small businesses, it can be pretty pricey. I mean, a large corporation or large company like say Telus or some of the other large corporations, they probably can. I don't want to say they can afford to eat it, but they probably aren't paying as much for a credit card transaction than a small business is, right? I know you see some of these small businesses stuff, they don't even want you to use credit card because it costs them too much money, right? Or like some places don't take American Express because American Express charges more to the merchant. So yeah, it'll be interesting, but yeah, you'll second guess. But I guess on the flip side of that, one way to look at it, Justin, would be like, and that's a big comment. Holy, let me just wonder why that went so large. But anyways, that's great. It didn't used to be that large and StreamYard. Holy, I guess it depends on the size. I guess a good thing, Justin, though, it's like it might, like you say, with people second guessing purchases, it might make them second guess actually using their credit card, which might not be a bad thing if you're carrying a balance, especially. So it might kind of go, oh, I could get this. I mean, I typically don't carry a balance on my credit card. I use it and pay it off every month. And but if you're carrying a balance, it might make you go, maybe I don't actually need this. So that might actually be kind of a good thing. Obviously, 2% isn't or 1.5%, whatever, isn't a huge amount. It adds up. But if it, mentally, if it makes you, not use your credit card as much, for some people, maybe it might actually be a benefit that way. So, and that's the thing, you can, it's the cost of doing business. You can write off, right? I mean, it's still, a write-off is still an expense that you'd have on the bottom line, but I know exactly it's interesting, because the thing with Telus, like, I know they sent an email out, and if you change it to like a pre-authorized debit through the bank, through your checking account or whatever, they wouldn't charge you for it. But it's like, someone's paying a fee there. It comes back to the consumer that way, if you, depending on your banking plan, right? But yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think it will definitely make people second guess, more so where they spend their money, as opposed to if they spend their money or not. But what will really be interesting is if every, say, let's just use Telus as an example, is if every mobile or every provider in Canada decides to do it, you're screwed no matter what. Whereas if possibly one, what if Bell decides, we're not going to charge this 1.5%, come on over, and that's the thing, they don't need to, they're just choosing to. Yeah, more money. So I guess if we own Telus stock, we should be happy, because it'll help us. But it's never good to pay more money. But it's like everything else, right? Everything's getting more expensive. It's like you get charged extra. I mean, I can see this too, though. You get charged extra if you want to receive a paper bill. I mean, I don't get a lot of paper bills for anything now. I prefer the PDF, the online billing anyways, to be able to grab the PDFs and save them that way. But they charge you extra every month if you want to actually get a mailed invoice, which is that kind of makes sense, because that's something that costs, it costs them money, but they charge you for it. It's like, I should be getting a discount if I don't get it. But anyways, you never do. They never give, they take. But so it'll be interesting to see when I don't know when that is supposed to be. Obviously they were waiting for the rules. I don't know when it's been actually announced, if it's going to be started. Let me just see in this article. Yeah, it doesn't say when it's supposed to start. Yeah, it's like you're charging for, everybody charges for everything now. It's like having to get a like some places, when I used to live in the Lower Mainland. I'm now on the island, but in the Lower Mainland, like stores, you couldn't. They stopped giving. They stopped giving out. I don't know where everybody's from, but they stopped giving out. Like, obviously, when you go shopping, you get the bags. So then they stopped. They give you. You used to get plastic bags. We used to remember back when we used to get paper bags. This is years ago. We used to get paper bags. Then paper was bad it was too bad because they were cutting down all the trees. So we went to plastic because it was saving the paper, right? Saving the trees. And then now we've got too much plastic. So we went back to paper bags. And then now we can't have paper bags anymore because it's bad for the environment. So we have to buy plastic bags. And then they start charging for plastic bags, and now there's no plastic bags. But what I found with that is, like, you ban. I say I don't even know who, the city, municipalities, whatever. No more plastic bags. So when we get our garbage, you have to now, instead of like reusing the bag that you get for your groceries to put your garbage in and then throw it away, you have to go buy plastic bags for your garbage. So it's like, who are we helping here? Nobody. We have to just buy plastic bags now. But yeah, we don't care. We don't care about trees anymore. But now you can. The problem is there's no more plastic. So if you want a bag, you have to buy a paper bag. It doesn't make any sense. Especially yeah. And then some of the stores, like if you go to a drive-through or something like that, if you want to, if you want to get a disposable cup, it charges you more for a disposable cup. So it's like you get a coupon. The big thing was that I remember reading at McDonald's, and in Vancouver, they charged you, I think it was a quarter for a cup or something like that, like Starbucks or whatever. This might have all changed by now, but they charge you for a cup. So if you had a coupon for a free coffee or something, right? For example, McDonald's, they give away those free coffees or something like that. You'd still have to pay for the cup. So it wasn't free. So I don't know. Go figure. Yeah, I don't know who we can thank. I don't know if that. Yeah, it just doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense. But like I'm on the island now here, and there's plastic bags. So I don't know. So when you go get groceries, you can get plastic. I think it depends on the store, maybe partly. But actually, one good thing when I do curbside, like I do curbsides through Superstore, which is Loblaws, if people are back east, they reuse the cardboard boxes. So, you get those flat boxes that some of the vegetables and stuff come in. So your groceries come in that. So it's actually really handy because you can bring it in and carry it in. Makes it a lot simpler. So that kind of works, and you don't need a bag. So they have it kind of separated into different stuff, and you just take that. And then I think you can recycle the cardboard. You just throw it in the recycle. So that kind of works. But it's when you go in to buy one thing or a couple things, you're just like, what do I do? There's nothing, we don't give you bags. In some places, like I know I was with my mom, and we forgot our reusable bags at home because there's no bags there. And she went to go to Walmart, and they don't have any bags. You have to buy their $2 reusable one. It's like, this does not make any sense. But anyways, and you're buying a reusable one that's made out of plastic anyways, which half the time you forget, so you buy another one. It doesn't make any sense. Don't get me started on Justin, on like paper straws in a plastic cup. So that's good. If you're still hanging around, Justin, you having turkey today or tomorrow, or no turkey? I don't know. So there's that. Let's see what else is some news. Sometimes the Sunday news isn't as bad as the weekday news. I did watch what I found really interesting, sidetracking into technology. I watched on YouTube. There was that Telus, or sorry, not Telus, Tesla. That Tesla AI presentation. I didn't watch it live because I know his stuff always seems to drag on forever and ever. But if you go into YouTube, there's some videos that people have like done the cuts of it, of all the best parts, and it's really interesting. The AI in that is definitely. I've had my eye on Tesla for a while, and you see this and you're like, oh, this may make you actually want to buy it. It's hard to know, right? But it's just very interesting. The one thing I do find with his presentations, he kind of almost always like the time frames are always overpromised. He makes it sound like we're going to be having robots in a month, but realistically, probably obviously not. But it's interesting, I think, in the factories, what we'll see with how they implement those in like some of the Tesla factories, in terms of, there's a lot of robotics in them anyways. It's almost like raw materials come in one side, and then a car comes out the other, and there's very minimal, like it's actually pretty amazing, his factories. But yeah, so it's the AI. Yeah, it is really interesting. But they're using, like Justin, they're using a lot of the similar AI from the cars. So in terms of awareness and what the robot sees and moves around, they're using a lot of the same technology is built into these robots, which it's kind of fascinating. I don't necessarily see. I guess you could see it as scary. I guess I don't know if we're there yet. Hard to know. But excuse me. But definitely interesting. So when as what seems to be happening in the world is we're reshoring a lot of the manufacturing, or trying to, right? Will the jobs be with the robots? Probably. In the next 20 years, probably, for manufacturing. People won't work on the factory floor anymore. Probably bound to happen. So I don't know. Is that what we buy? Do we all buy Tesla stock and retire off into the sunset? We'll see. I don't know. Interesting. I mean, what's interesting about that too is like you see a ton of Tesla cars on the road. Whether maybe you notice them more because they do all kind of look like, obviously all the models do look a lot alike. So you maybe notice them that way, and maybe you can notice them because they're different, right? Because they're electric cars, as opposed to a lot of the other car manufacturers. Some of the electric cars look exactly the same as a regular car, but some of the regular models, right, the hybrids and stuff, a lot of them look the same, except for some of the new like Hyundais and stuff like that, like the Ioniq. But if you're looking at, say, like a Ford, the new one, the Ford truck, right, the Lightning, like I think they sell them now, I'm pretty sure. You can't tell you can't necessarily tell the difference unless you really look at it and know, maybe the front headlights or something, but from just walking down the street, you're not going to necessarily catch the difference. Whereas a Tesla, you see them everywhere. And like with the AI and stuff, like every Tesla car, I mean, eventually will be able to drive itself. I'll bring that up, comment in a sec, but every car will be able to drive, but they're in the meantime, as they're driving around, they're gathering information, right? All the cameras. It's pretty crazy with what the machine learning can do. Even if it's in a car, if you think of it that way, like the car is technically got AI in it. Yeah, minimum wage people better wake up, realize you need to increase your skill, higher wage. Yeah. I mean, it might be interesting though with I think, Justin, with trades, whether they'll replace those. I don't know. Like, I guess I mean eventually, right? If we're talking way down the road, sure, but like I know of one thing, there's probably not enough. I think we've talked about it a little bit on live streams, like in terms of construction trades, manufacturing trades, welders, fabricators. There's a real shortfall for that, but there's been a shortfall. Like, so I went to school as an apprentice as an apprentice chef. So I have my journeyman papers as a cook, like as a trained chef. And that was, I mean, I'm going to date myself back now. That was, in the 90s. And there was a shortage then of the skilled trades, and in the apprenticeship program people weren't going into it. They were all going into and do other things, like going to university and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to assume a lot of the trades are still the same. I don't think that's improved, because people don't go to school and go, hey, I want to be I don't know. I mean, some people obviously do, but like, it's not like people are wanting to, it's not a flood of people wanting to turn out to be welders or pipe fitters. But if you look at what some of the infrastructure projects in different industries is like, that's the job you probably should have been going to make some skill. If you're a skilled trade, there's definitely money there. The problem with a lot of the labor, the skilled labor is, I would say skilled starting wage. I would say that's even kind of low, for depending if you have your ticket, right? That's the big thing, is you need once you have your ticket, it's your ticket for ticket to go. But yeah, it's interesting. We still need them, trying to find sometimes a trade, although that's maybe changing a little bit with the economy slowing, but like obviously with real estate and everything else, and in Canada. It'll be a trickle down. So if, people aren't necessarily needing as many plumbers or drywallers or framers or what have you. So we'll see. But there's definitely a need for skilled trades out there and good wages. It's hard work though. That's the one thing. It's not necessarily an industry. Depending what you're doing, it can be very taxing on your because a lot of times you're on your if you're on your feet all day, or you're working, so it's definitely taxing on your body long term for different things. That's kind of the reason I got out of what I did. When you hit a certain age, your body doesn't work the same. Lifting heavy things all day and that kind of stuff, being on your feet, that kind of thing. That's the unfortunate thing. But if I was 20 again, I would definitely consider a skilled trade again, for sure. Being open to move around where the work is, which a lot of people do. Yeah. But these are always good. I always love where these conversations go, because they always go. You plan to talk about one thing, and they always go in like a completely opposite direction, which is great, because it's on the channel I can talk about my portfolio and talk about investing and everything else. But yeah, we'll see. So, welcome. I think Cryptstar Crypto, first time commenting, I think, on the channel. So the CPI is the CPI. We're in Canada. Is the Canadian CPI next week too? I haven't. Nobody's talking about it. But let's just see when the next. Is it the U.S.? Let's just see when. Shoot me a comment when the dates are. Release schedule in Canada is. Oh, it is. Oh, it's in. So Canada. Okay, you're in USA. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so let's just go through. If you know the date in the US, must be. I'm going to say. Is next week, and looks like Canada's is the week after. So Canada's is on October 19th for September. Last week, okay. Before they pivot, and when I think so Canada's been a bit on October 13th in the States. Thanks. Canada's been a bit lower, if I'm not mistaken, than the States for the last little while. But still high, and still, I think it's going to have leveled off a little bit, but I haven't read too much into it, because it's almost like we're just prepared to know, we just know day to day everything is more expensive, right? And is that maybe a weird attitude to have on it, but it's kind of like, but I think we're starting to see things come down. I think everything with the rate increases. I can only speak for Canada. I think it's starting to have it's weird. You feel like it's kind of starting to have the effect, but on certain things it's not. Like, you read things like, obviously mortgage rates are up in Canada and the States, from what I've read, obviously. And if you're carrying a variable mortgage in Canada, especially, and your payment's been changing, your payment has gone up substantially from when you first got your mortgage. So that puts an impact on the bottom line. But then you see things on the flip side, where I was reading an article where, like, restaurants are off the charts with people going out. So it's like, it's not there yet. So I don't think we're gonna have necessarily huge drop, but it's not. I think we hit that. I think we hit that peak already. Cryptstar. Anyways, that's my thought. I think we've hit that peak. In terms of the pivot, I don't think they want to lead on that they're gonna pivot, because that's gonna be a sign that everything's gonna go crazy again, right? So I think they're keeping their foot on, I guess, the gas, so to speak. And it's the same in Canada, where we're the same in Canada, where they're kind of saying we're not letting the foot off the gas yet. So we'll see. And the PCE, let's just see. So I'm just looking. Sorry, I'm looking up the stuff in the consumption. That's the personal consumption index. I'm just looking up some of the stuff in the States, because I've been following it, but not like super close to be able to say like a number for you. But so it's up. It has been. Yeah. Let's see. So rates, yeah. So wages, anyways, yeah. But I think, you know what, I don't think we're going to see lower rates for a while. The pivot's going to be pause. It's not going to be the rates down, I don't think. The pause is going to be the pivot. And I think I can only kind of speak for Canada and how I see it kind of happening here. We're going to see like a rate increase on the next one. Nothing, we'll get Christmas off. It's kind of the thing. We'll get a Christmas gift of probably no raise, and then we might slowly. I don't think we're going to necessarily. Everything could change tomorrow, but I think the next one is kind of the next big one, and that's it. And then it's a bit of a pause. So yeah, sorry, crypto. I don't follow a ton in the States to see the actual like what's going on. It's a bit different than Canada. I mean, it's connected, but it's connected, but it's not. So we'll have to see beyond my scope. Yeah, it leads it. You are correct. It leads the market, but I don't. Yeah, follow it more in like the global kind of like, but I don't know what's going to happen. I don't follow it that closely, but you're kind of on the same boat. Yeah. Flat for rates. Yeah. We're kind of the same. We're kind of the same here. Yeah. We had the big increases as well. Yeah. But beyond my scope. There's smarter people on YouTube in the macro than me. That is for sure. But thanks for joining. And yes, I can answer that question. That is StreamYard. Yeah. You can pop up the comments on StreamYard. It's not bad. Works okay. It's a bit pricey, I find. I've been looking at a few different options. I find for the cost is not, but when I say the cost is also too, again, US dollar, but the Canadian, like the subscription base, and this is, yeah. So there's different plans. This is why it's kind of annoying. So right now, this is 1080, but it's only because I have a regular 720. Normally it's 720p, but I have 1080 for 7 days or something like that, just to give it a try. When it streams on YouTube, I don't know if there's actually a big difference if you actually during the live, but maybe on the replays it probably is a little bit better once the 1080 hits. I think that's my kind of theory, but I don't necessarily know if it's worth paying that extra amount for the 1080 for streaming. So there's probably some other solutions. I'm on a Mac. so I'm kind of checking out other programs, but I do like the simplicity of StreamYard because it's really just log in and you're on. You don't have to do a lot of you can do things like set up different themes and stuff like that, but you don't necessarily have to. I like that it's browser based. There's another one called Ecamm Live that I've looked at and I've used before, which is good, but it's a subscription model as well. But it's 1080. But you can do a few more kind of things with it with scenes and stuff like that. But again, it's a subscription, so it's like it ends up being like, for me, StreamYard's close to $40 a month, 30 something dollars a month. Personally, I'd rather put that $40 into my investment account than pay pay StreamYard. So once my month is up here, I'll kind of see what I'm going to do. There's also OBS, which is a bit more. I have to kind of figure that out because also too with green screen and stuff like that, StreamYard works good. So if anybody has suggestions, if you, OBS. That I just got my M1 Mac to go because we're going to the chat showing on the screen. We can public question, please. Yeah, that's the problem with the free stuff. It takes lots of configuration, which doesn't always, like, time is money, So if you have a Mac, check out Ecamm. Is it Ecamm Live? I think it's called Ecamm Mac. It's called Ecamm Live. The cost is, it's on a plan. I wish they would just sell these things so you can buy it. They have a standard and a pro. The standard is 1080, I believe, but if you do the pro, well, the pros, so the standard is this will be in US dollars, obviously crypto. $16 a month as one, like yearly, you save 20%, or monthly is 20. Unlimited streaming, does a green screen. It does, I believe it's 1080. It doesn't actually say, so I think it is. But they have a pro version, which is $32 a month, or monthly it's 40. So it goes, you save 20%. For the pro version, you can actually stream in 4K. Although you'd have to watch your network speed probably with that one. But I think if you're on M1 Mac and you probably can hook up, if you're hooked up, probably have good. But yeah, 4K. So that's what I'm going to be trying next once this month is up. I did use Ecamm Live I have another YouTube channel, and I did use it for that at the time, and it worked quite well. Once you get it set up, definitely a bit more set up than StreamYard. It does do the comments as well, like you see, like I can choose and hide comments. The one kind of neat thing about Ecamm Live is when you can actually set it with comments. You can actually, the thing with StreamYard is when you click a comment to show it, you have to manually unhide it. Whereas with Ecamm Live, you can set it in the preferences to delete it after like 10 seconds. So it'll actually take it away no matter what. So sometimes, depending what you're doing with your live stream, and you're not you might not necessarily be paying attention sitting at a desk right in front of anything. So if you're doing like a presentation or something like that, you can click it and then it will, it'll make that comment disappear. StreamYard is good though if you have guests coming on though, because it gives you that option to invite guests quite easily. Whereas the Ecamm, you have to get the pro version to be able to invite, I believe, interview. So you can invite guests in HD with the pro. It doesn't let you invite guests with the standard version. There's always these like different plans, and there's never one that's perfect for everything, that has everything that you want. There's always something on some other platform that is better, So that's the unfortunate thing. Whereas like OBS, it takes a lot of setup, but I'm sure you could kind of do everything that you want to there eventually. But it's a lot of like pulling things from different things. And I haven't. The thing with OBS is I've downloaded, looked at it, and you load it up, and you're just like, oh, this is too daunting. I just want to go on. I just want to go live, So, so you got to stream your strike call, yeah. So I do have, this is the thing, I do have, like it's in front of me here. I don't, this is the thing, I have the ATEM, I gotta unplug it. It's not running on this right now, just because, long story, I've still setting up my new studio. So I do have the ATEM, this is the ATEM Mini, because when I did live streams before, I have another channel, but when I did live streams before on there, I had different camera angles, and it's a great tool. But when you're running it with green, like it's more set up on your own, right? You have to do a green screen, and there's a key, it can do the keyframing and stuff like that for the green screen. It's just getting it set up. But it does work well. So I actually used the ATEM as it comes in through a webcam, right? And I still used it with Ecamm Live, and it seemed to work really good. But the ATEM Mini is only 1080, not 4K. So in order to get 4K, I think they have a 4K one now. I could be mistaken. This was the first model that Canon came out. And I think they have a 4K model, as far as I know. But a great tool. I just haven't got it set up yet. It will be. I've just been using my iMac webcam. Oh, I didn't know there. Oh, that's interesting. That would be interesting. What's the brand? What's it called? I'm just gonna, let me just see. This is great. Thanks for joining on. Learn lots. So I love how they. Let me search that. That'd be nice not to have. As soon as you can kind of have less things. Insta360. So it's a 360 cam, or is it? Oh, okay. So you can use it as a. I'll have to check that out. And Blackmagic does have a 4K, yeah, 4K encoder. I think I find kind of 1080 is fine, I think, for the most part. When I film videos, I film them in 4K though with my camera. But when I got the first Blackmagic, so I'm sorry, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to Google this now so I can. It's the 360 link, and I'll save it in my tab so I can check that out after. Thank you. When I first got the ATEM Mini, the camera that I was using wasn't 4K. It was only 1080. It was just, I had a Sony camera, and it worked perfectly, just 1080. So I didn't need 4K at the time. And now they have a 4K model. Yeah, they have ones that can record too. That would have been great at the time, with different camera angles, because you can have it record on an SD card, or like one of those micro SDs, your whole show and all the different angles. So you could do a live stream, but then you could go back after and have all the different shots. It would be great for making other videos and stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, that'd be handy. It'd be handy to have as well for doing, like, I know on my other channel, sometimes I have a channel that does stuff with cameras. So what you would do is sometimes you're filming like a top down, and you have to do it all separately. Whereas if you had the ATEM, you could just like literally hit record in 4K, and record all your shots at the same time and do one thing, and then you'd have everything ready. All the sound would be ready. Everything would be all in kind of one, well, all in separate, obviously separate tracks, but already done. You don't have to redo and start and stop and all this kind of stuff. So it would make life a lot easier. So ATEM Mini, it can get pricey. Sometimes less is more. This is just like an iMac. I mean, the convenience, like you said, yeah, convenient isn't always there with one camera angle and one camera 1080. The camera angle, there's issues, right? Because once I get the ATEM set up, I'll be able to have the computer kind of off to the side, because you can have a camera right in front of me. Because with the computer screen in front of me, obviously if I wear glasses, you see the reflection. which isn't ideal either. And the angle isn't the greatest either, depending, but you work with what you got. And sometimes less is more and works out that way. But yeah, I'm going to guess you have a channel. What's your, your channel is probably about crypto. I'm going to assume. I'll have to check it out. If you do have a channel, let's see. Cryptstar, crypto, same channel. There we are. Oh, lots of shorts. Okay. We'll check this out. You have to see, I'm going to assume you're in the States. Oh, you're in Japan. In Japan? Wow. Or is this your channel that says you're in Japan? And sorry, what do I trade? Like what kind of crypto? Oh, Tokyo. Welcome, Tokyo. That's awesome. I'm in Canada. It's probably nighttime there or something like that. I don't know. Crypto. Oh yeah. So yes, yeah, crypto. I do well, Bitcoin. In our investments here in Canada, we can hold ETFs of different cryptocurrencies. So we do have some ETFs here. I have a couple in my portfolio. One's like a Bitcoin yield ETF. So it does pay a dividend, which is kind of nice. And then there's other ETFs where it just holds the actual tokens. And there's a combination of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I have that in my TFSA as well. So a TFSA is it's a tax-free savings account that we have in Canada, and we can invest into those. And it's like a self-directed account that you can have. There's a limit on how much you can put into it every year, but your gains are tax-free. So any dividends or appreciation is tax-free when you withdraw, and then you can withdraw it without paying taxes. So it's just kind of it's a type of investment account that we have available here, but it's capped. You're kind of capped on how much you can put in there each year. I'm nowhere near the cap, but this is kind of a product. The downside of that is if you have a loss, you can't write off your losses on your taxes on a tax-free savings account. You can do that in a regular account. You can, and yeah, but the way that TFSA or the tax-free savings account works, you can withdraw at any time. It's not like a registered retirement account or anything like that. It's basically a tax-free savings account. And the savings account is kind of, and this will be benefit for anybody that's kind of watching in Canada as well. The savings account is misleading because a lot of people think you can just have it in a regular banking savings account that doesn't pay much interest, but you can actually have it a tax-free savings account as a self-directed investment account. And that's what I have or you can have it in a combination of both, as long as you don't put in more than your available limit. I think if I remember correctly, like this year's limit was, you could put 6,000. It goes with inflation too. $6,600 in 2022. But if you go back, it's been going in Canada for, I think, about 10 or so years. So I think the limit the maximum people can put in there if you haven't put a deposit in is it's like 100,000. It's close to 100,000 or just over 101. Somebody would know. Somebody that would remember. So there's lots of room in those things. And if you do withdraw it, so say you take out $1,000 of your TFSA, you'll have that contribution room back in the following year. So you can't play and take in and out, because any deposit in the calendar year makes it count for that calendar year, but it opens up the following year to be able to put it back in. So the benefit that way. So it's kind of like a retirement account. Yeah. It's kind of like, sorry, glass door. Yeah, it's a portion. It's only meant to be a portion. And the thing is too, and Justin, yeah, wasn't it 60? 200 this year. Sorry, I can't remember. Next year is going up. And yeah, Cryptostar, it's not really meant to be a, like, for example, trading in it. You can't day trade in your TFSA in Canada. That's kind of frowned upon. It's meant for more of a long term. There's not really any point to day trade in it anyways, because if you lose, you can't write off your losses anyway. So it's not built for day trading. It's more of a long-term investment account. That's why a lot of people there's a lot of ETFs that people will invest in. Dividends will pay in there, so your dividends aren't taxed as well in TFSA. So just one way to do it. Oh, there you go. You're right. So it's under 100,000. Yeah, by next year it'll be 100. It'll be getting close to 100. So 81,500 is the limit. I'm way off to that. Kudos to anybody that has been able to cap out their limit. But anyways, no, getting back to crypto, like outside of I have Bitcoin. Like I have a ledger. I keep it in my own wallet that I have. In terms of tokens, I don't have Ethereum other than in the ETF. But I have a few others that I have. I do have a little bit of Cosmos, like in the Cosmos Atom, and a few of the tokens on that one. I like to kind of dabble and play around with. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Not a ton, but enough to kind of learn what's going on. And that's pretty much it. The main holding is Bitcoin, because it's the easiest to understand. Yeah. And I will be sure to check out your channel and that camera. Although I don't need another camera. That's the problem. You start looking at cameras, you want to buy the latest and greatest. And they're not cheap. And they're hard to get a lot of times. Sometimes cameras, the newest ones, because of the supply chain. Seems like that's just the line. It's just, it's more expensive because of the supply chain issues. Oh, we don't have it because of supply chain issues. It's like when I had to buy tires for my car. Well, that's the only thing we could get, supply chain. Okay. Don't know how to argue it. So we'll check out your channel. I always like a good crypto channel. As long as they're not saying everything's going to the moon. There we go. Hour flies like that on the live streams, everybody. If anybody has any last minute questions, we always get sidetracked. It's always awesome. Meet new people and you learn new things. I'm going to go check out that new camera and get the live stream fixed up. But yeah, it's always good. We went from Turkey to TFSAs today. And I always appreciate everybody that came and joined along. We always get a couple of the regulars coming, and then there always inevitably is someone new. I don't know how he found us, but he did. So that's always great. But it is coming along 10 o'clock here. I always like to jump on for an hour, so we went over an hour today, which is okay. It's kind of fun. So if there's any last minute questions, let me know. But we're almost time to probably sign off here pretty quick. I do appreciate it. I might come on tomorrow. It's Monday. The markets are closed in Canada. The U.S. market is open. If you have any U.S. stocks that you're going to trade, tomorrow might be the day. I'm going to take it as a bit of a break. Maybe not even check my. No, I'll probably check the portfolio. I always do, no matter what, even though it's not going to change. But it's always interesting. We'll see what's happening with the news. There might be something to kind of report tomorrow and talk about. So what we'll do is we'll get it scheduled. As always, I have to get better at that. I have to get the stream scheduled more ahead of time, but I always seem to kind of like to jump on when I have an hour, and that typically is between 8 and 9. Although I'm not working tomorrow for the holiday, but I will try and jump on, and I usually try and get the stream at least scheduled maybe half hour beforehand, keep everybody on their toes. So if you aren't subscribed, just if you subscribe, put on the notification bell, and then that way it will pop up to you get, there we go. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It will pop up that I'm posted a live stream, and you can join in if you want, ask questions, have a good banter with people. Hopefully we learned a little thing. I learned a little bit today. Hopefully you did too. So we'll leave it at that. So thanks to everybody that came on. Lots of comments today. Justin, well, thanks for coming back. It was great. And thanks to Cryptstar Crypto. Learned a bit about cameras. And I think you were our farthest away visitor so far. So from Japan. So welcome. We're all typically in Canada here, and someone from Japan. So I think that's the farthest away that we've had so far. So we'll leave it at that note. I'm going to sign off here, and let's get off the banner. We started off with a Fireplace Finance. What we will do is we will sign off, and we'll leave you with a little bit of a Fireplace to sign things off. Hopefully you have a good rest of the weekend, long weekend. Hopefully you have a good turkey dinner tonight. Don't eat too much turkey. And we'll catch you in the next video.